Chelsea?
Okay. I'm Chelsea Fabbro. I'm 22.
And I'm Dawn, and I think I've been hearing a common theme, and that is this didn't just happen. We started when Chelsea was extremely young, and Chelsea, what did Mom and Dad create for you when you were 3?
The vision for me.
We had a vision, and John, actually, Chelsea's our first child. We wrote a vision statement for her when she was 3 years old. We came across a packet from the Maryland Coalition for Inclusive Education, and they wrote something saying, envision where your child will be at age 21. And she's 3 years old, and we're looking at her, and we have no clue. And we have no clue of parenting in general. And then they laid out 6 points, and John and I thought about it all. We wrote it all down. The first question was, envision the home environment. Where will your child live? Who will your child live with? What will your child be able to do in that home? And the second one was the work environment. Where will your child work? What will your child be employed as? What will your child's responsibilities on the job be? The third was community environment. What places within the community will your child participate in, and what will those activities be? What social events will your child participate in? The fourth was, I hope that my child will develop relationships with. The fifth was, I would also like my child to. The sixth, I think that my child will probably need the following supports and environmental modifications. So we took the time when she was just 3 years old and plotted all that down and created a vision statement for her and a dream that John and I had for her that we hoped one day she would take over and create her own dream out of, and it has happened. But it was all very purposeful stuff. So the way we educated her had to follow what our vision was. There were plenty of times where we had steam coming out of our ears and did not know what direction to go in, and we would go back to the vision statement and say, if we want her to get somewhere by age 21, let's remind ourselves this is what our goal was for her, this is how she's going to get there. We also had a phenomenal high school teacher. We did a lot of things along the way, and we're encouraged that the community was the community in the general ed class. It was the community of kids at the dance studio. It was the community of kids on her swim team. So the skills that she was developing are the skills that right now she's using on the job. Her social skill development, every little piece of that, it's pretty amazing now, because it was like this big question mark, who will she be at 21? And at 22, she's gone way above and beyond what we envisioned. So the self-directed option, before there really was this program, we were already, that was our dream. And so when the program was created, it's like, well, this just fits right into our dream. So Chelsea, tell them a little bit about what your day looks like, or what your week looks like.
Okay.
All right? Tell them what your schedule's like.
On my days, I worked tickets at 10 to o'clock.
From 10.
10 to 2 o'clock.
And how do you get there?
I take the bus. I take a bus up there.
What bus number?
28.
Right. And where do we live?
I'm at Clare, New Jersey.
Right. And tell them what Tinga's is.
It's called a Mexican restaurant.
Right. And what do you do at Tinga's?
I did the bus tables, setting up tables and chairs, and this other stuff.
Right. Help the waitresses.
Yeah, have waitresses.
Make to-go bags.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Chelsea was in high school, she started during the summers doing job sampling. And tell them a little bit about some of the jobs that you probably know this better than I. Some of the jobs that you had, that you job sampled. You want to tell them?
Yeah, I worked. I was at a hospital. I started that summer up of theaters, artist gardens in McClure State. McClure Public Library. Myself, yes, I started at McClure State at Pool, Michigan, Tinga Restaurant, and a Gap.
Right. So as the year, we did just what a typical kid does, you know? It's like we started out job sampling in her freshman, sophomore, maybe junior year. It was just during the summer. And another, we did what our strengths are. And I have a family of athletes. Both of her sisters played soccer, and my husband's a marathoner. And you take what it is that you're all about, and you learn who you are by that. So, Chelsea, tell them about your high school sports experience.
I played soccer, basketball for years.
Right. And how about swimming?
I'm swimming, and because I have my coaches there.
Yep. Her swim coach is with us right now, and she's part of our story too. But so a lot of Chelsea's transition to adult life experience and skills that she learned, I can't tell you how much she got out of sports teams. She learned how to use her cell phone from her peers on the buses coming home. You know, all of them pull out their cell phones, call their mom. We're in this corner. We're going to be at high school. You have to come pick us up. She followed suit. So all of those things that every kid does, Chelsea modeled from her teammates. And I think what we've said a million times, like why we have to start so often, and you learn 10% and then 20%, and then kids with disabilities, as we know, the repeated instruction, why you have to start at age 3 for all this. The repeated instruction, the repeated instruction, the repeated instruction. So by age 22, those skills are just totally embedded in who you are. Chelsea does, so go on and tell a little bit about your week, and I'm going to ask you some more questions.
Okay, my teaching coaches give me, if you're shopping, swimming, and softball class, a ticket.
A Zumba class?
Zumba class.
That's on Tuesdays,
That's on
right?
Tuesdays,
We're going to start that.
And Thursdays, so too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what did you do during the school year on Wednesday afternoons after your job?
I was on Montclair State.
And what Montclair State has a program, actually a lot of schools do, the Bonner program, which is the community service program and leadership development for college students, and Chelsea participated in the Bonner program up at Montclair State. We started out with an agency, and Chelsea had 2 jobs. And actually, another thing that's so important is to start, if you can start that job before you transition out of your school system. Chelsea worked at Tinga's probably for at least maybe a year and a half and was paid already before age 21 for that job. She also picked up a second job at the Gap. And it was great. However, the Gap is sort of struggling right now, and she does not have consistent hours. So that's created a bit of a hole. And so Chelsea doesn't need any support at her job at Tinga. She does not have a one-on-one staff. We worked through that. The Gap, she maybe every 6 weeks she works there, so it's not enough. It's not what we envisioned. So we've now hired her old swim team coach, and we're sort of revamping her schedule and doing a lot more community-based instruction. Sort of, Chelsea's already knows how to use her debit card. She uses public transportation. But now we're finding the kinks in all of those things, the things that she's learned it to this extent. And now Katrina is, we worked with an agency for Chelsea's first year. Now Katrina's our self-hire. So we're ratcheting it all up and learning about your bank statement, so that taking everything to the next level of self-determination. So, Chelsea, anything else you want to add?
Everybody get Mom, or?
The gap, well, the gap's been,
Yeah.
when we talk about a problem, it's been a problem because it's not what we planned, but that's pretty typical life for a 22-year-old. My daughter, who went away to her first year of college in Savannah, is now talking about going to college in New York. So it always is a work in process. And if you do the work early and often and establish those relationships and let your kid just be embedded in the community, there's going to be all kinds of opportunities and things that they can get involved in.